Okay, class, so let's all log on to Desmos through the link in Google Classroom, and I have already copied and pasted it. So I'm going to put it here, press enter, and hopefully this should be pulled up onto your screen already. If not, let me know and I can come around and help you. The title should be Parabola's Vertex Form, and of course this is not a new graph for you all. It's the quadratic equation, or what we call a parabola. And over here you should already see the vertex form of the equation from our mini lesson that we discussed today. As you notice, the a is there, the h, and the k. And remember, we talked about how all three of those values can change this graph. So I pulled this up because hopefully you all have had that chance to kind of play around with this earlier, but I want to just show you, remember this a value is going to change it, and how it changes it is by making it skinnier, making it wider, and when it goes negative, it reflects over that x-axis and still does the narrow or wide. So I'm going to bring that back to its original position at a equals 1, because that's our standard form. And now let's look at this h and k. And if you remember those values, those are the ones that are going to shift this entire function either left and right or up and down. So if we look, if h is a positive number when you plug it in, you should notice that it is going to be moving to the right. But if h is negative, it moves to the left, all along that x-axis. And then the k value is going to be those vertical transformations or translations. So if k is positive, it goes up, and if it's negative, it's going to go down. So if we bring it back here, we're back now into that standard form. This is our parent function, or it could also be in the form of y equals x squared. Now, this button right here is our vertex. Remember, we can get that from this equation, but it's also that little purple point right there. I want you to click that button, so then that way you can always see what that number and value is. So beginning with the lesson or the questions that you're going to be doing with your partner, first, I want everybody to go into number 6 and hit y equals x. And you'll notice we need a squared. So remember, down here on your keyboard, hit the squared button. And remember, this keyboard is kind of like all the functionalities of your graphing calculator. And when you're done, you can just hit that arrow back down. And there is our basic equation lying over top of the original one to show you that these two were the same. So remember from our warm-up? Okay, so now number 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pull one of the 5 problems from our worksheet, and I'm going to do this one right here, number 2. So if everybody can type in your number 2 equation into the number 7 spot over here. So it's the negative 1/4. So y equals negative 1/4, and then our parentheses, and it was x, x minus, or x plus 7 squared minus 3. So x plus 7, remember our squared is down here, minus 3. So now if you lower that, now we can actually see what is happening to our graph. And if you want to pick it up and move it, all you got to do is click on it and move. But we're going to compare these two items. So if we notice, the graph has been reflected over the x-axis. It's now upside down. It's also a lot wider. So remember, that's coming from this a value over here, that negative 1/4. If it was negative, it's going to get reflected over that x-axis. And the 1/4 value, remember, if that number's in between 0 and 1, it makes that graph wider. The plus 7 and the minus 3 has now shifted it left 7 and down 3, and that is where that comes from. So work through the rest of the remaining 4 problems and make sure to make note of all the visual transformations that you can see.